Um, within view, you're gonna have your call out, and this is how you guys are gonna make the call out of the bathroom, of the front desk here, right? You're gonna click, and you're gonna throw these into the sheet. One thing that you guys are missing is the circles within the bathroom here. Very simple. You just go to annotate, detail line. These are essentially just you're literally drawing on top of your view. So we're gonna go to detail line, and then you just have a circle tool here, and you're gonna make your circle according to the sheet, how it looks on the sheet. And what the circle really means is it's an 88 circle. If you haven't learned yet about it, it's just the area that a person in a wheelchair needs to maneuver within a bathroom so that it is 88 compliant or essentially an accessible bathroom. But yeah, that was the only tool that you were missing, I believe, for recreating A420. Um, yes, you guys just need measurements. You already know how to get the elevation off of the spot. So that's all good. Um, for schedules, okay. For schedules, this is the thing. If we scroll down here on our project browser, just before sheets, you're gonna see schedules. And there are already some created here, right? So there's the door schedule, and there's these different things. And adding these door schedules to sheets is essentially how I created this. But it's what I mentioned before. This project was created with the intention of you recreated it in Revit. So imagine you're a real person building something, right? If you look at this, let's look at the wall schedule, right? I'm building the exterior wall, and it says here W01, okay? So I can look at the drawing, I see W01. Then it says family basic wall. That doesn't help me at all. And then type it says exterior brick on CMU, nothing else. I know the general idea of the wall. I know that it's brick on CMU, but I can't recreate this wall at all, right? So the schedules here, I want you guys to know that hey, you can access it on Revit, and they can be helpful. I'm not gonna ask you guys to replicate it. So for sheet A420, you're only gonna need your details and just center them here on the page. But to go back to the walls, the way that I want you guys to show that is going to be through some 3D section cuts. And let me quickly show you guys how to do that, okay? So let's go down here to our 3D views again. I'm going to duplicate our 3D view with detailing. And please, when you're duplicating these, go ahead and rename them. So I know this, for example, well, I don't know exactly, but it's probably like a southwest perspective or something of the sorts, right? Rename these so that you know exactly what you're working with. Nothing is more confusing than just having a bunch of nameless things here that don't actually mean anything. So like the West architectural call out one, that's your curtain wall 01 detail, right? Just make sure you rename everything. Organization it doesn't hurt anybody, but it helps, right? So made a 3D of our 3D view here. I don't know what's happening. 3D view, 3D view copy. If you lose your project, by the way, you can right click and you can zoom to fit. That's what happened. Okay, so we want to represent our wall. We want to show somebody, okay, if you want to make this wall, this is how you do it. Let's begin by hiding things that we don't need. So again, I'm gonna hide the elevations here. And then something really cool that we can do is we can scroll down on our properties palette until we see extents, and then we can click on section box and hit apply. Now, section box is essentially like a crop region, but it's in 3D, okay? So if we use these arrows, and you can see that there's 6, right? So up and down from the bottom, you're essentially just controlling each side of the cube. Let's use this arrow, and if we move it in, it creates this cut on the building. And yes, that is how I made our top sheet here. This is nothing more than I use the section tool to go down until you can partially look inside the building. And that's how you can see this view. And that's how I wanted to present you guys with this project so they can see, okay, this is the general idea. But sorry, just rambling, back to Revit here. Let's bring this section all the way down so that we essentially only have our wall here. Our focus here is going to be this wall. I'm going to bring it back. There you go. And I'm gonna bring it back here as well. And now we essentially have what we need. I'm just gonna make this slightly thinner. We don't need to see that much. Perfect. And then lastly, I'm gonna right click here and I'm gonna hide this section marks. And now we have this beautiful little section over a wall. Okay. How's this helpful for us? This is helpful because when you cut the wall in half like this, you can see every part of it. So I can see the thickness of the gypsum wallboard or the drywall. I can see the CMU, right? So that's this gray. I can see the insulations, and I can also see the brick and the air gap. So looking at it this way lets us know how many layers it has. And then for us to actually present how many layers it has, what we can do is, and obviously we're gonna have to throw it on a sheet. I'm honestly gonna just gonna throw it on the sheet that we're already using, just to save time here. Um, but you create your own sheet and make it big. Yeah. You're gonna need two of these in a sheet, okay? One is gonna be for your exterior wall assembly, and one is going to be for your interior wall assembly. And I do ask a little bit more of this exterior wall because not only does this give us the opportunity of detailing the wall, but also the flat roof here, or excuse me, our parapet, and also the carpet and the slab here, okay? How we're gonna do that? Very simple. Within the annotate tab, we're going to click on text again. But instead of just using the regular text box here, we're going to use this text box with the 2-point leader. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on one of our things that we're talking about, click again, bring it out, and then we can talk about, okay, this is brick, blah, 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 blah. And the importance of this is that, like I mentioned, looking at this and just knowing brick on CMU doesn't help. So what I want you guys to do, oops, spoiled. Um, what I want you guys to do is double click on your wall, go to edit type. On the structure, click on edit so they can see the structure. And this is all the information that we need. It is right here laid out for you. Okay, so we have the function. The function is good for you to know, but it's not necessarily needed for you to write down. But what we're gonna write is okay. I use the arrow to point it to the brick, and then we're gonna write 3 and 5/8 inches brick column, right? And that's now one layer. And we're gonna point to the next layer, air, 3 inches, 3-inch air layer, 3-inch rigid insulation. And then damp proofing is a membrane layer here. So it doesn't have a thickness, but you should still put it down. What this means is it's essentially like a very thin sheet or a paint. So it doesn't have a thickness, but it is still essentially between two layers. So do point to it. And you can write membrane layer for that, or just damp proofing and put that it doesn't have any inches. Your CMU, your metal framing, your gypsum wallboard. Okay, I want you guys to point at each of these and then write our details so that it shows exactly what the wall has. And by the way, it looks like a glitch, but it isn't. The way that Revit represents air is by making it nothing, which makes sense. It's air. But the weird thing that it does is it not only it looks through it. Okay, it doesn't make it nothing. It makes it invisible in the sense that this is an air gap right here, but we don't even see the brick because the brick technically goes back. But the air makes the wall completely invisible, the brick part, and now we can see the portion of the slab. You see this? The air layer is completely invisible, so you can actually see um the floor here, but this brick should actually be going back. But just don't be confused by that. But yeah, you're gonna go ahead and point everything to where they are, and you're gonna write the proper name for it. Just copy and pasting here. Remember your membrane layer. For your membrane layer, you just point in between. I don't know if it's there. I'm just letting you know. But you're gonna do this for the wall. I want you guys to also point the parapet, every single part of the flat roof here, and then as well as your floor and your slab. And this is a good opportunity for you to tell us what your floor is made out of, because like I mentioned before, it was your own choice to make it whatever you wanted, as long as it was different floors. And that's the opportunity for you to give it. And then as a freebie here, of course, this is my model that I was using for for the past video, so it doesn't have anything. But off of my completed model, same idea here. I just cut it down the same area, but until you could also see the current wall here, and that's what this is. And I also put down a pointer, an arrow pointing here to every single thing that you're gonna need. So if you look at the guide, I did put this on the guide, and this is how many things you should have named for this section. And I made it extra big here. You can make it a little bit smaller because you're also gonna need to fit an interior wall, which will be much simpler. Um, but yeah, um, every single layer and also, your curtain wall here. And very important, don't just write mullion and don't just write glass panel. If you click on it, right, if you click on your glass panel or you click edit type, you can see the thickness that it has. The material here, it is just glass. But then for the mullion as well, you can actually see the details, and that's what I want you guys to write down. Okay. Besides that, let's take a quick peek at the guide, but I think we are done. So we have sheets, details, the circle, the region, and then your wall assembly. Perfect. Yes. So, hopefully this prepares you for your STEAM services project. Um, I would hope so because I also wrote that, and I made this assignment essentially based on what you guys are going to need to know for the STEAM services. But besides that, I just hope this really taught you guys Revit enough for the classes that you have upcoming and but just your career and internships and whatnot. But yeah, just wish you guys good luck. You guys are still going to see my face for other assignments, especially in 222. But for this assignment, this is it. Um, yeah, I hope that was helpful and goodbye.